Longtime guest Kathryn Rooney Vera, who just joined a new company, StoneX Group, as the chief market strategist. Great to see you, Kathryn. Thanks for your time. So we've got a real big question right now on what the economy is doing, what central bankers will do, and how the markets should interpret all of it. What's your general takeaway on where we are in this economic picture right now?
Well, everything is we're in an economic cycle. We're currently in stagflation. The next phase of the economic cycle, John, as you and I have spoken about previously, is recession. The question is, when does that happen? And my contention, John, is that that cannot happen in an economy based two-thirds on consumption, primarily on consumption of services, when you have such a remarkably strong labor market. Yes, we are seeing some softening of the labor market, but not consistent with a deceleration in inflation towards that 2% target. So I do think inflation is going to remain sticky for some period of time. The Fed is going to have to, in my view, John, increase another 25 basis points in the month of June. And if it remains sticky and doesn't move towards that 2% target, John, I think there's a better chance of the Fed having to continue to hike rather than cut, which is currently discounted into the markets.
How do you think that impacts, let's say, the strongest performers? We're wrapping up the month of May. There's been a lot of interest in technology stocks. There's been huge hype around artificial intelligence stocks. We've seen some weakness in that group in the pre-market today.
What makes sense to me, John, is given where we are in the economic cycle and the inevitability of recession in that context, to sell the hype, right? We've had artificial intelligence really surge quite a bit. We have in emerging markets, which I tend to look at with affection. We have the Mexico moment. There's a lot of hype in certain segments of the market that I think would behoove more cautious investors to rotate out of. I, John, continue to like the defensives, not the cyclicals. I like the inflation hedges and those sectors, John, that historically outperform both in stagflation and in recession. And those unequivocally are healthcare and energy, utilities, and staples. So I think we should take these opportunities of premature rotation into the discretionary names and the tech names and expect that inflation will be sticky. We are entering into the next phase of the economic cycle. No one can say with much certainty or precision over what time frame. But I would say that we need to be defensively positioned over the course of the next 6 to 12 months.
Just to wrap things up, you talked about energy. I'm not sure investors feel like they've been defensively positioned in oil this year. I mean, certainly in Canada, heard a lot of people with sort of a contextual case for this possibly protecting against the inflation uncertainty. But energy stocks in this country have been the worst performer this year. And so it sounds like you still feel like the longer term prospects for this as an investment class are pretty solid.
I do like commodities in general. In fact, StoneX, we're a powerhouse in the commodity space. I do think that we should be positioned and have some exposure. I think now is good in terms of valuations in energy and even in commodities in general, in gold. So I do think it would be a good position to enter into right now. Historically, it is a defensive sector because, as you know, we all need to continue to in Miami at least, cool down in the heat and warm up in the winter. So I do think it is something that investors should rotate into if they don't already have those positions right now, John.